Hello and welcome to Spinster's Library. I'm Claudia and today I want to show you my workspace, my office, where I make my videos and where I do my other work, my less interesting work, when I'm not making videos. If you've been following the channel for a while, you may have seen various iterations of the Spinster's Library. There was my office in Wales, where I used to live before I moved here. And that was lovely. That was my own little space. And it really was very little. It was a small room, but it belonged to me. Then we moved to Germany into a temporary apartment, which didn't have an office space. It didn't even have a desk. And I kind of had to make do with the dining table for doing actual work and with the sofa for filming purposes. And that was less ideal, but it was only a temporary space, and so we dealt with it. I dealt with it. And now we are in this apartment, which is also only temporary, but for a slightly longer period of time. And Bill and I are actually sharing an office space here, which we have never done before. So we approached this quite analytically, I think. We both spoke about what we needed from an office space. I do all of my PhD work from home and have for a very long time. Even pre-COVID, I did most of my PhD work from home. Here, I am as far from my university as I can be, so I do all of it from home. So I needed a nice big desk with enough space to spread out my papers if I'm reading papers, and also a decent screen, ideally one where I can have 2 pages next to each other on it. Bill mostly uses the computer for gaming, and therefore he had his own requirements of the computer and screen and the keyboard. If I can be asked, I'll ask him to talk about this, and in which case it will be cut into here.
What do you want me to actually say?
I'd just like, I don't know, explain some of your choices about why you bought certain things, but in a way that isn't going to make everyone turn off.
Right, okay, well this is my wrist rest. Roccat mouse, bought that because it's white. Edifier speakers, bought them because they're white. And then this monitor, I bought it because it was good. The VG27AQL1A is by ASUS. It's a good monitor for a good price. Unfortunately not white. Same with this Logitech web part there, so that's all kind of ruined it. So then I got a custom mouse mat with a big picture of Minerva on it.
Oh, don't worry, I've got footage of the mouse mat.
Very good. Okay, so the computer is the AURORA RYZEN edition, running an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 3080 and a Ryzen 9 5900. Normally love building my own PCs, but you can't at the moment because you can't buy graphics cards.
Tragic.
I know.
I also wanted a little recording space because I didn't really want this to be, you know, my filming space. I wanted something that's a little bit more, well, that's a creaky chair. I wanted something that's a little bit more interesting to look at than an office. So let me just give you the tour of how the office turned out to be. Oh, I should say, this is not the final product yet, because as you'll see when you look at the shelves, there's still a lot of storage missing from this place, a lot of storage, and also there are some things that we just haven't mounted and installed yet. So here we have the desk. The desk itself is secondhand. I bought it online from an older lady who, by the looks of it, has been using it since the 1980s. And here you can see the screen. Again, if I can be asked, I'll put some links in the description box of the individual products. Pretty much every single thing that functions electronically was chosen by Bill because he cares about keyboards and screens and computers a lot more than I ever will. He also chose the mouse mat. Now, I didn't even know they make mouse mats this big, but they do, and he chose well. I approve of this motif. Bill is probably going to be annoyed if I don't give some special attention to the keyboard. I don't know what's so special about it except for the colourful keys and that it makes little clacky noises.
This keyboard is, well, it's not white, but it's aluminium, so that's close. That's actually really nice. That's a Vortex Race 3, they're lovely.
Over here is my notebook, and this is what I use for my to-do lists and also any studying related notes, any filming related notes that I feel like taking on paper. I am not as diligent about my bullet journaling as I used to be, but I pretty much use this one as needed. And this one has been going since November of 2019, so well over a year. And then over here is my laptop, which is not getting a lot of use these days since Bill got this monster. Over here we have what is going to be the storage area. And at the moment it is still rather empty looking, except for 2 cardboard boxes right on the bottom that really need to be sorted through. I'm still looking for storage containers that are practical and cheap and that fit in here. And the obvious place to go for these things is IKEA. However, IKEA don't deliver more than half of their things, and it's so frustrating trying to put stuff in the shopping basket only to then be told at checkout that no, actually we don't deliver these random cardboard boxes. The shelf itself is also from IKEA, and the printer is another thing I got secondhand. There is a cat bed that has so far gone unused. Ooh, now that I have vacated it, I can also show you the office chair. This is a really nice office chair. Bill and I chose it because it looked really comfortable and it's so pretty and I love the color. And then Beetle decided within minutes of us having put it together to completely rip it to shreds. Cat people, you know the pain. I don't yet have a lot of plants in here, but something I do have is this tiny little, hand for size, tiny little string of hearts. And it is still a baby, but it's growing. And that just sits there and dangles from the top of the speaker. One of my favorite pieces of furniture, but one that unfortunately remains nearly invisible, is the fluffy footstool. Here it is in all its synthetic glory. When we were looking at ideas for rugs, because we knew we wanted a rug in here, we had already chosen the chair and we had already chosen the 80s style desk. When I thought about this color, I was reminded of one of the formative music albums of my youth, and that is the album Placebo by the band Placebo. And I liked the color combination from that album ever since I saw it. The teal and red together, I really liked that. So I suggested going for a rug that is roughly that shade, and I still really like the combination. Now let's move on to the recording part of this. Here we have my 2 tall studio lights. One of them is on because it's such a dark day that without this light you wouldn't be able to see anything. So these are my studio lights that I got from Bill as a birthday present a few years ago, and I have moved them from the UK to here. They pack up really small. The lights are amazing because they allow me to film at any time of day, irrespective of what the weather is doing. And here is my filming space. When we moved in here, I wasn't sure what to do with this space. I've always wanted a really elaborate filming space, something with furniture, something with a little lamp and a plant and some books in the background, something with depth and intricacy and something that's just fun to look at. But I very quickly realized that this is not the space to do it. It's just not big enough. Even if I film into the corner, even if I put my camera here, I would have to paint the entire wall on that side and most of the wall on this side to make it an interesting looking background. And I just wasn't prepared to do that for this temporary space. I made a video about the dilemma, and some wonderful people suggested I look into wall tapestries. So I did, and I found some really fun looking ones online and really cheap ones as well. That's because these are essentially just really thin pieces of printed polyester. I really like this sunset motif. I think the teal color in that sort of ties in with the rest of the office furniture. It also took me a while to find the right seating arrangement. I tried recording on my office chair and it's fine, but it's a bit creaky. I tried carrying in the armchair from the living room and that's fine, but then I have to squeeze a wide armchair through 2 doors every time I record and then put it back, so that was a faff. And so I ended up getting this folding futon bed. And it's pretty obvious how this works. It is just a foam futon, like one you use for guests. Remember guests. And it folds up into this stool type thing. It's not the most aesthetic, but it is really practical. So you can fold it out. If ever anyone comes to visit again, then we've got somewhere for them to sleep. And otherwise it just functions as, well, to be honest, most of the time it functions as a cat bed, and occasionally it functions as a stool for me to record on. This corner is so far empty apart from the huge cat tunnel. Cat people, you know cats go absolutely wild for this. My cats love playing in this, but it is a horrible, ugly thing, and therefore it just lives in this corner. As you can see, there is still some unused space here. So there is space for more shelving there. Something else that I'm not entirely happy with is the echo in this space. I'm not sure how bad it is now as I'm recording this, but in my recordings you really notice that it is still a very sparsely furnished room, because the sound just echoes off in a way that it just didn't in my little office in Wales. So there is still lots of work to be done, but I'm really happy with it. And I like that I have a space where I can do my work, my PhD work, my YouTube work, that can be made nice for guests, if guests ever happen, and that is still a little bit of a work in project. Work in project, is that what you call it? No, work in progress. It's a work in progress. So there you go, that was a little tour through my home office that I use for PhD work and YouTube as well. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions about any of the things I showed, put them in the comments. But before I finish the video, I want to just draw your attention to one change I'm going to be making to my videos, and that is that I'm going to start adding credits to the end of my videos to the people who support me on Patreon. So I'll just have a little list of the handful of people that are subscribed to my Patreon. Obviously, if you want to be added to that list, check it out, link in the description box. And there's different levels, there's different rewards. You've heard of Patreon before, you don't need me to explain how it works. But I thought that really I should be crediting the people who are on there, because it makes such a difference to me, even if at the moment I can count the number of people subscribed to there on 1.5 hands. It still makes such a big difference. So thank you. And thank you all for watching. Bye.